In the classroom closest to the gym, a group of 11-year-olds was settling down to a maths lesson.
You hear bangs, basically. First of all, you're thinking, is this just somebody dropping something, or somebody playing around with things? But you couldn't believe at first that it would be somebody shooting. You always had it in the back of your mind that it could be, but it's not the first thing that came to mind. And then just after a couple of minutes of hearing it, we're thinking it's continuing on so long that it's more and more likely that that was what it was, gunfire.
I knew that there was people dead. Yes, yes, oh yeah. Instantly. Oh yeah. To the side, there was a huge storage area where all the large equipment, mats, etc. were kept. And I somehow managed to realise that that's where we had to make our way to for some shelter. And that's what some of us managed to do, a group of children, Mary and myself, and covered in the floor.
Next, Hamilton turned his attention to the primary 7 class opposite.
Our first reaction when he did come out of the fire exit was, I think it came naturally to us, just hit the ground because he's going to be shooting through the windows, get down on the floor. But it was the first thing the teacher said, go and get to ground.
Hamilton fired 9 rounds through the classroom windows, missing Stephen and his classmates by just a few feet.
When we were first shot at through the windows, you could hear obviously the glass, and there was glass all over the floor at that point. That was the main problem. I mean, okay, the bullets had come into the classroom, but there was so much more glass coming towards you. You were thinking, let's try to keep out the way of it and hide.
What happens in that situation, where you're in a life-threatening situation, is some of your senses clamp down, but some become so heightened. And my sense of hearing was so heightened. I was aware, although I couldn't actually see him, of where he was and what he was doing. And I was trying to be proactive and think about how we could protect ourselves and what we could do in that situation. The echo of the gym had a terrible echo anyway, but it was repeatedly the close shots of his gun going off. I was trying to be aware of where he was in the gym. That's what I was trying to do. Where is he? Is he at the top of the gym? Is he coming our way again? Just trying to be aware. Not I really could do anything about it, but just trying to be aware of where he was.
If you weren't lying there thinking, well, am I going to die? You're thinking more, if he comes into this classroom, what's the fastest way of getting out? And where do we run to? Where can he not find us, for example?
I just drove into the car park, and I don't know why, but I sensed something was wrong, and I didn't know what it was. And there was another parent came up, and I remarked to her, there's something wrong, and she said, yeah, she didn't know what it was either. And as I went in, I opened up the nursery door, and Mrs. Isles had the children sitting in the corner, the story corner, and I knew that was wrong. I mean, this was the beginning of nursery, that's what they do at the end of nursery. And Mrs. Isles jumped when I came in, and she looked very tense, and she said, oh, it's all right, it's just Mrs. Doherty. And she said, just hang your coat up over the door. And I thought, there's something wrong, there's something outside that we're not wanting the children to see, and I just didn't know what it could be.
And there was a little boy who kept saying over and over again, what a bad man, he's a bad man, he's a bad man. And we want him to be quiet, don't make a sound. And eventually he was quiet and didn't move, lay down, was still.
He fired 105 rounds from his pistol in the space of around 3 minutes. I think we have to imagine, particularly in view of other mass shootings, that his intention was to kill himself and to cause as much mayhem as possible before he did that.
Gwen Mayer and 15 children lay dead on the floor of the gym. Another victim was to die on the way to hospital. 11 more children and 3 teachers were seriously wounded. One boy alone survived the massacre physically unharmed. One girl was absent.
Then everything went silent. There was an eerie silence. He shot himself. And just for, it felt like quite a long time, there was calm, there was silence. And I don't know how long it lasted, whether it lasted just half a minute, whatever. But then people began to react to their injuries, the children started to moan and to cry, and then help came into the gym then.
Just against this background, reports are coming in that one person is dead and several people have been injured after a shooting incident at Dunblane Primary School.
It's understood that a gunman burst into the small primary school in the village.
The murderer, who was armed with 4 handguns, then killed himself. All the children were under 6 years old.
When the phone call came in and said that there had been a shooting at Dunblane Primary School, we didn't believe it at first, and then ran into the gym and we saw the devastation that was there. It was more or less taking a big deep breath, going into auto drive and carrying on what we had to do.
It was the children lying on the floor, basically looked as if they were sleeping. And I see the 1 or 2 children that we were dealing with in the storeroom kept going back to this one wee boy. I don't know if that was my point of connection, but just kept going back to him to make sure he was okay. Until such times as we could get an ambulance up to take him away.
After the sound of gunfire, confusion and bewilderment, and the anxiety of waiting for news. A stricken crowd of parents waiting in dread to be told who lived and who died.
An unreal situation, really. They were screaming from fear and from pain. Strangely enough, I never actually was, although I was aware that I'd been shot, pain wasn't my initial reaction actually. It was an awareness of what exactly was happening in the gym, because I felt responsible.
As the bullet stopped, your mind started to think, we've survived this, so it's ended. What's that? Well, dare I say, what's happened to him? Has he been arrested? What's going on? And also, to an extent, particularly for people like me, and well, loads of people in my class at that time who had brothers or sisters around the school, where are they? What's happened to them?
There were colleagues knocking on my door asking if I'd heard that a shooting had been reported at Dunblane Primary School. I hadn't. I tried phoning the police, the line was engaged. I didn't know the school's number off the top of my head, so I didn't phone that. And then somebody offered me a lift, along with another colleague of mine who had a child at the school, and we were driven up to Dunblane. It was only when I arrived there, saw all the hundreds of people milling around in the street, there were roadblocks, I thought, well, this has to be something very serious.
It was just awful. They just stood outside in the cold, hundreds of them, and with little information, just watching ambulances and police cars and journalists, and really not knowing, and rumours going around, and even, you know, even though maybe it was clear that it was one class, you know,